time. And many people think that's what Jesus is like. Perhaps he's like the sort of Robin Hood figure. Perhaps there was someone once who lived in Bethlehem, but the story's become exaggerated over time. Perhaps that's what you think, that perhaps the Christmas story has become exaggerated as the years have gone on. But Matthew begins his gospel story, his account of Jesus' life, very differently. In chapter 1, Matthew traces the birth of Jesus to the life of Abraham. Abraham, who lived 2,000 years before Jesus. Matthew says that Jesus was born from Abraham's family. In other words, Matthew begins his account of Jesus' life by saying that Jesus was a real physical human being who came from a physical, real family and was born 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem. Matthew begins by saying that Jesus was a figure of history. And that's what our chapter in verse 1 of chapter 2 is about as well. So if you turn with your Bibles to the passage we've already been looking at, Matthew chapter 2. Matthew 2 verse 1 says, "After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem." Matthew begins this bit of the story, the Christmas story, by saying, at the time of King Herod, when King Herod was ruling, this story happened. In other words, the Christmas story is rooted at a point in history. Now, King Herod that's mentioned here is Herod the Great. He came to the throne in 37 BC. He was confirmed by the Roman Senate. And as time went on, he became increasingly paranoid. He was king of Judea. He became increasingly paranoid that people might sort of usurp him from his role. You can sort of see that actually in this chapter. I know all that because I've read about him on Wikipedia. You can read about it too. He was a real historical figure. And that's the point. Matthew is saying that Jesus was born at a real point in history, not a made-up myth. This is not once upon a time in a land far, far away, someone was once born. No, this is a real human being born at a real point in history.